Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. What does it mean to be a social entrepreneur? We had an opportunity to sit down with Sasha Lippman and learn more about what he's doing to enhance our Jewish community. Innovation is sometimes difficult to harness, and you're one of the few who have been able not only to bring your mission to the forefront, but to get funded. And that's exciting, and it's something that you should be very accomplished that you're able to do it. Talk a little bit about your project and how you were able to secure your grant.
Sure. So the project's called the Jewish Journey Connector, and the objective is to essentially create an Amazon for the Jewish community. So, and the part of Amazon I'm talking about is many of you are familiar with, the part where Amazon essentially predicts the books that you'd like to purchase based on your prior purchasing history, what your friends have purchased, and other web browsing information that they've bought up on you, and information they've collected from credit card companies to try to secure a profile. We're trying to create the same thing for the Jewish world to enable people to stay involved from cradle to grave, so that Jewish involvement isn't sort of transactional, where people come in and go out when they don't find something that sticks, but we keep finding ways to stay and keep them engaged throughout their lifetime, across all their different geographies, across their different life stages, across their different interests and needs at every point in their life, so that there's this trust connection with the Jewish community that really is offering them opportunities that are apropos to where they are at that point in life. And the way that the project really came about is it's actually something that I started developing with a couple of colleagues probably about 3 or 4 years ago. I was sitting at a conference, a Wexner alumni conference, and I was talking about it with a few colleagues there, and we tried to get it off the ground there, but it didn't go anywhere because it was really, the idea sort of was too early. Everyone looked at us cockeyed and thought, you're crazy, or this is way too invasive, that people will never go for it. And we put it away around the time of the recession, and then this is a good example of how we ended up getting the funding. Last fall, I just decided, even without the funding, we were just going to go ahead and do it because we decided it was something that the Jewish community needed, and it was critical for us to really get them, to leverage the most return on all of these institutions and organizations whose energy we're putting into people, but having people just drop off the radar screen. And as we know, most Jews are just not involved anymore. So we just decided it was a need that had to happen, and so we started to invest in making it happen. And then, as we were doing it, this grant opportunity came along. I actually learned about it off of somebody's Facebook page. We applied for the grant, and 4 months later we got it. And we actually were going to go forward whether we got the grant or not. So my advice actually is, from an innovator's perspective, when you have a good idea that you really know is needed and is going to work, trust yourself, trust your vision, and go for it. And good things will happen when you go for it. If you wait for the funding before you do anything, it's unlikely to be as successful.
And that's critical. Being a social entrepreneur, you really have to put yourself out there. And it's, you can get your grant, but you have to be able to deal with some failures. What would be the advice that you already spoke a little bit about, to persevere and put your money where your mouth is? But if someone who is has a great idea, what would be the best steps for them to try to speak to funders and make their dream a reality?
Well, I think there are old adages about this, which is, if you want money, ask for advice. If you want advice, ask for money. So generally speaking, you need to engage potential funders as thought partners and start with a conversation about helping them, finding out whether or not they can relate and resonate with the problem that you're trying to solve. And don't introduce your solution until you're convinced that basically they share the same vision of the problem, and that you can get their advice about how to solve it, and then you can talk about what your solution is. I think a lot of us have a tendency to think that we've spent so many months or days or weeks or years thinking about our idea that we're so versed in it that we think that we'll just, we finally get that meeting with the donor and we try to, put the idea out there right away, and that's not the way it works. You really need to do what's called pull marketing, which is you really implant the idea by asking them a lot of questions, by asking them if they resonate with the problem that you observed, if they resonate with the ideas that you have, and that's the way that I think is much more effective.
And where can people learn more about your organization?
You can learn more about us on the web, measuring-success.com, with a dash in between the two words. And otherwise, you can also look us up just searching on Google for the Jewish Journey Connector.
Great. Well, good luck.
Thank you very much.
As you can see, it takes money and perseverance to enhance our Jewish community. This is Aaron Herman, and thank you for watching.